Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of Arabic Levantine dialects. The Levantine dialects are spoken in the eastern Mediterranean region, specifically in countries like Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Palestine.
In Arabic, these are famously referred to as Bilad Al-Sham, which means countries of the Sham region.
Each has its unique flavor and characteristics, so let's explore the similarities and differences together in this video. Before we get into the specifics of each dialect, let's explore what makes Levantine Arabic unique as a whole. Levantine Arabic is known for its melodic intonation, rich vocabulary influenced by various languages, and a certain fluidity that makes it quite distinct from modern Standard Arabic, MSA.
تلذذ ب5 نكهات فريدة مع كيت كات ميني مومنتس ديزرتس. هز تليفونك هلا وبلش القط.
Unlike MSA, which is more formal and used in written texts in official speeches and in news broadcasts,
نولي أهمية بالغة لسلامة موظفينا أثناء العمل وصحتهم.
Levantine Arabic is the spoken dialect used in everyday conversation, media, and informal settings in the Levant area. The Levantine region has a rich history of cultural exchanges due to trade, colonization, and migration. This has resulted in a blend of influences from French, English, Turkish, and other languages, making the dialects even more diverse and interesting. People from this region will have virtually no trouble understanding one another, aside from being surprised by a few unique words or slight pronunciation differences. Whereas people from the Levant would have a harder time understanding dialects from other Arabic-speaking regions such as Northern Africa. Levantine and Northern African dialects sound pretty different, to the point where even a non-Arab could probably differentiate between them. On the other hand, a non-Arab would probably not be able to tell the difference between two different Levantine dialects. Within each Levant country, there are further subregions that have developed slight dialect differences. Due to geographical proximity, dialects from two different countries may sound more similar to each other. For instance, a southern Syrian may be mistaken for a Jordanian, while they wouldn't be mistaken as someone from the capital of Syria, Damascus. Oftentimes, the differences in dialect are not based on country, but rather urban versus rural areas. Let's start off by exploring some of the similarities these Levantine dialects share while contrasting urban and rural areas. Let's start off with similarities in phonetic and pronunciation. First up, we have the qaf sound, or the qaf letter. In many parts of the Levant, especially in urban centers like Damascus, Beirut, and Amman, the qaf sound is pronounced as a glottal stop. Let's take the word for coffee, which is qahwa. In these urban Levant areas, it would be pronounced as ehwe, whereas in rural and Bedouin areas of the Levant, it's often pronounced with a G, so it would be pronounced gehwe. Let's move on to consonant changes. The letter kaf can sometimes be pronounced as ch, in rural areas, though this is less common in urban areas.
For example, the word for dog is kelib. In urban areas, it would be pronounced kelib. In some rural areas, you might hear chelib.
The letter jim is pronounced as a hard J in most Levantine urban and rural dialects. For instance, the word for beautiful is jamil. There are some areas in rural Palestine that are super close to Egypt where they would pronounce jim like g. So instead of jamil, it would be pronounced as gemil. Now let's talk about vocabulary similarities. Some common expressions. Levant dialects use shu for what? Shu. The word for now in urban Levantine dialects is halla. Halla. While in rural areas, it can be hassa. Hassa. There are also some unique words that Levantine dialects share. Spoon in urban areas is often ma'la'a. Ma'la'a. There are different ways to say tomato. You will find these are found in each country but in different areas. So for example, we have bandora, banadura, and tomatim. Lastly, let's explore syntax and grammar similarities, specifically verb conjugation. In the Levant dialects, the future tense often uses rah before the verb to mean you will do something in the future. So for instance, if you want to say I will go, you would say rah أروح. So here, راح comes before the verb روح, which means go. Levant dialects also use the prefix be for present tense. So for instance, if you want to say I write, you would say بكتب. In Bedouin-influenced rural areas, this is less common. For instance, for the phrase he says, you would hear يقول instead of بيقول. First up, let's dive into Lebanese Arabic.
كل شي زاد بالمعنى نقص بس مش بكل الحالات. عند سنتر بوينت وصلت لحصومات ل70%.
Lebanese Arabic is known for its musical intonation and the frequent use of French and English loanwords. This is partly due to Lebanon's history of French colonization and its cosmopolitan culture. In Lebanon, you might hear merci instead of shukran, which means thank you. And you might hear bonjour, which means good morning in French, instead of sabah al-khair, which means good morning in most Levantine Arabic dialects. Lebanese Arabic also has a distinct pronunciation, such as a soft qaf sound becoming a glottal stop or disappearing entirely. Using the example from prior, for coffee, instead of saying qahwa, we would say ahwe. The Lebanese dialect is very distinct in the use of its vowels among the other Levantine dialects. For instance, for the word must, a Lebanese person would say لازم, while someone from Palestine or Syria would say lazim. Again, the difference is lazim versus lazim. Here are some other examples of vowel differences with Lebanon's sister country, Palestine. For the word this, a Lebanese person would say hayda, while a Palestinian would say hada. Hayda, hada. For the word there, a Lebanese person would say hunik, while a Palestinian would say hunak. Hunik, hunak. Another difference is the phrase I want. A Lebanese person would say بدي, while a Palestinian person would say بدي. بدي, بدي. All the remaining dialects, Syrian, Jordanian, and Palestinian, are virtually pretty similar. There are a few different phrases and slight pronunciation differences, but nothing too major. The true differences here lie in the urban and rural areas. So let's move on to Syrian Arabic, which is often considered the most neutral and widely understood across the Levant. Syrian Arabic retains more classical Arabic features compared to other Levantine dialects. A notable characteristic is the pronunciation, once again, of the letter qaf, which sounds like a glottal stop, similar to the Lebanese Arabic. Syrian Arabic is very similar to some Jordanian and Palestinian dialects. It may have few pronunciation differences and unique word choices. For instance, for the word not, Syrians will often say mu instead of mish, which a lot of other Levantine dialects use. Moving on to Jordanian Arabic, you'll notice it has a slightly more conservative and Bedouin-influenced tone, especially in rural areas. In urban settings like Amman, the dialect is closer to Palestinian Arabic. Jordanian Arabic also has unique expressions such as eshfi instead of shufi for the phrase what's happening or what's there. So again, eshfi is more Jordanian, while shufi is more common in Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria. In rural Jordanian dialects, the pronunciation of the letter qaf is usually a telltale sign. Palestinian village dialects tend to substitute qaf for aka and sometimes aga, while Jordanian Bedouins use ga more exclusively. For example, heart in MSA is pronounced qalb, but a Palestinian villager might say kelb,
while a Jordanian would say gelb.
Finally, let's discuss the Palestinian dialect, which has its own unique charm. Palestinian dialects vary significantly between urban, rural, and refugee camp settings. Urban Palestinian dialects share similarities with Lebanese, Syrian, and Jordanian dialects, while rural dialects retain more traditional features. Similar to the other Levantine dialects, one key feature of Palestinian Arabic is the use of the be prefix for future tense, such as بشرب. In addition, Palestinians often use هلا to mean now, similar to Jordanians. Once again, coming back to the letter qaf, in Palestinian rural areas, you'll often hear it substituted for a k sound or a g sound. So instead of qalb, which means heart, you would hear kalb or galb. Also, in some rural areas, the ch sound may be adopted instead of the kaf sound.
So while in urban areas in Palestine you might hear it pronounced as kelb, in rural Palestine you might hear it pronounced as either kelb or chelb.
Now let's look at some common expressions and how they differ across the different Levantine dialects. The first phrase we have is, what are you doing? In Lebanese dialects, you would hear, شو عم تعمل? شو عم تعمل? In Syrian dialects, you might hear, شو عم تساوي? شو عم تساوي? In Jordanian dialects, you would hear, شو بتساوي? شو بتساوي? In Palestinian dialects, you would hear, شو بتساوي? شو بتساوي? Let's look at another phrase, like the phrase, good morning. In Lebanese Arabic, you would say, sabah al-khair. Or you might say, bonjour, which is the French word for good day or good morning. In Syrian and Palestinian Arabic, they would also say, sabah al-khair. But in Jordanian, you might also hear, sabah al-ward, which means morning of roses. For good night, in Lebanese and Syrian, it's tisbah ala khair. While in Jordanian and Palestinian dialects, you also might hear tisbah ala khair, but there's the additional phrase tisbah ala nur,
which means wake up with light.
Now let's examine cultural influences on dialects. To understand these dialects better, it's important to consider the cultural and historical influences. Lebanon, for example, has a significant French influence due to its colonial history, which is why you'll hear many French words in Lebanese Arabic.
For example, you might hear gâteau for cake. In French, elevator is ascenseur. In Lebanon, you'll hear it referred to as ascenseur. You'll hear hello instead of hello.
Syria, on the other hand, has been influenced by the Turkish due to the Ottoman Empire's rule. Jordan's dialect reflects its Bedouin heritage, with more traditional and conservative language features, especially in rural areas. Meanwhile, Palestinian Arabic has been shaped by a mix of urban and rural influences, as well as the impact of displacement and diaspora. These cultural influences not only affect the vocabulary, but also the way people express themselves and interact in everyday life. For example, in Lebanese culture, the French influence has made expressions of politeness and formality quite prominent. You'll often hear s'il vous plaît for please and pardon for excuse me. In contrast, Syrian Arabic has retained many traditional Arabic expressions and phrases, maintaining a closer connection to classical Arabic. Allah ysalmak, may God keep you safe, is often used as a response to thank you. In Jordan, you might notice a more straightforward and sometimes direct way of speaking, reflecting the Bedouin influence where clarity and brevity are valued. And in Palestinian culture, the blend of urban and rural dialects, as well as the influence of refugee communities across other Levantine regions like Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, has created a rich tapestry of expressions and idioms. For example, we have the phrase, Yisalmu idek, Yisalmu idek, God bless your hands, which is a common way to thank someone for a favor. Levantine Arabic dialects are still evolving as they are influenced by media, technology, and social interactions. You might even hear more English expressions woven in to these dialects. With the rise of satellite TV and the internet, people are exposed to different dialects more than ever before. Shows and series produced in one country are watched all over the Levant, leading to a blend and mutual understanding of dialects. For example, popular Syrian TV dramas like Bab al-Hara are widely watched in Lebanon, Jordan, and Palestine, making Syrian Arabic easily understood across the region. Similarly, Lebanese music and pop culture have a significant influence, spreading Lebanese expressions and vocabulary. Social media platforms like Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok also play a role in this linguistic exchange, with influencers and content creators often mixing dialects to appeal to a broader audience. This exposure not only helps in understanding different dialects, but also leads to the adoption of certain phrases and expressions across borders. If you're interested in learning Levantine Arabic, it's helpful to start off with one specific dialect and then gradually expose yourself to other ones. It'll be pretty easy to understand other Levantine dialects once you get one down. Resources like language courses, online tutorials, this YouTube channel, and immersion through media are great ways to get started. Start by familiarizing yourself with common phrases and expressions. Practice listening to native speakers through TV shows, movies, and music. Try to mimic the pronunciation and intonation as closely as possible. Apps like Duolingo and Rosetta Stone offer courses in Arabic, but you'll see that they often focus on modern standard Arabic instead. Engaging with native speakers is also invaluable. Platforms like HelloTalk or Tandem allow you to connect with language partners from around the world. Practicing with native speakers will help you pick up on the nuances and everyday usage that you won't find in textbooks. And there you have it. While Levantine Arabic dialects share many similarities, each has its unique nuances that reflect the rich cultural tapestry of the region. Whether you're learning Lebanese, Syrian, Jordanian, or Palestinian dialects in Arabic, understanding these differences will enhance your appreciation of this beautiful language. So the Arabic that I teach on my channel personally is Northern Palestinian, and it has a huge influence from the Palestinian refugee camps in the south of Lebanon. It sounds similar to many Levantine urban dialects, but it's distinct from the rural Levantine dialects. And that is all I have for you today, Jamala. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment down below, and hit the subscribe button. Let us know in the comments below which Levantine dialect sparked your interest, and I will see you in the next video. Ma salama.